Hello, I'm Lucy Dean and I work for the Brighton and Hove Safeguarding Adults Board. This podcast is one of a range of short podcasts that are being produced by the Brighton and Hove Safeguarding Adults Board as part of our aim to support multi-agency learning and development in relation to adult safeguarding. In this episode, we will be focusing on making safeguarding personal. And with me to discuss making safeguarding personal is...
Hello, I'm Simon Hughes and I work for BHT Sussex as a senior manager, and I'm also the safeguarding lead for our organisation.
And I'm Alistair and I work for BHT Sussex as their involvement officer, ensuring that service users are involved in how the charity operates.
So where does making safeguarding personal come from? Making safeguarding personal, or MSP as it's often known, developed over a number of years, mainly in response to feedback, reviews and pilot studies regarding adult safeguarding arrangements. These identified that adult safeguarding arrangements in place at that time focused on the investigative processes, with people feeling that they were not being listened to, were not being encouraged to actively participate and make choices, and that these processes were not seen as leading to positive outcomes. The focus on making safeguarding personal increased when it was incorporated into the statutory guidance that accompanied the introduction of the Care Act in 2014. Simon, having briefly discussed the background that led to the introduction of making safeguarding personal, what does the term actually mean?
Thanks, Lucy. Making safeguarding personal is first and foremost about developing a safeguarding culture that is person-centred and outcome-focused, with practice that actively supports people to improve or resolve their circumstances. The guidance that accompanies the Care Act makes this clear by stating that it is important all safeguarding partners take a broad, community-based approach to establishing safeguarding arrangements, and that it is vital all organisations recognise that adult safeguarding arrangements are there to protect individuals.
So, the making safeguarding personal approach can be summarised as being person-centred. It's a personalised approach. It ensures safeguarding is undertaken with and not to people. It's also outcome-focused, a practice that focuses on achieving meaningful improvement to both people's circumstances and to their situations. What it is not is the completion of an inquiry or an investigation. It has to be relationship-based, an approach that uses active communication skills rather than just putting people through a process. And finally, it has to be transparent. It has to be an approach that enables all parties, that's the practitioners, the families, the teams, and the Safeguarding Adults Board, to know what difference has actually been made.
So this means involving people from the outset, conversing with them to understand if abuse or neglect may have occurred, gaining their consent wherever possible before raising a concern, and ensuring that their preferred outcomes from any safeguarding activity that takes place are clearly identified and understood.
So what if someone does not want a safeguarding referral or an inquiry raised? I know that there are some areas in relation to making safeguarding personal that people can find confusing or unclear. So it'd be really helpful to discuss some of these at this point.
Yes, and it's important to start by saying that when someone says they don't want something to happen in relation to alleged abuse or neglect, such as a safeguarding referral to be made, for example, or an inquiry to be made, it is key that you do not just walk away. You need to use your professional curiosity and your relationship building skills to seek to ensure that the person is not being influenced or being coerced or controlled by anyone else.
Yeah, as part of this process, you should always consider the person's mental capacity and whether there is a possibility that they may have any form of impairment, and whether they understand and can make informed decisions about what's happening. Even if someone has capacity and is choosing to make an unwise decision, persevering and establishing trust to converse privately with them about their decision can help minimise the impact of that decision on their health and well-being.
So if the person does have an impairment and may not be able to make a capacitated decision regarding what's occurring, then a Mental Capacity Act assessment should be arranged, even if the person is assessed as being unable to make a capacitated decision. People who know them best and professional advocates can be used to help make decisions that are in their best interests.
In addition to the Mental Capacity Act and the Care Act, legislation such as the Human Rights Act can be used as part of a Making Safeguarding Personal approach to stop abuse and neglect, and ensures that anyone who may be abusing others is dealt with appropriately. For more information and resources, there are a variety of sources of guidance about how to make safeguarding personal. And these include a Making Safeguarding Personal toolkit with case studies and guidance, and Making Safeguarding Personal outcomes framework.
And the Brighton and Hove Safeguarding Adults website has a dedicated Making Safeguarding Personal section, and this has resources developed by the LGA and ADAS, as well as case studies on making safeguarding personal, which are produced by the East Sussex Safeguarding Adults Board. So we've come to the end of this particular podcast on making safeguarding personal. Thank you very much to Simon and Alistair for joining me today to discuss the important topic. We hope you found this useful, and for more podcasts and further information, please keep connected to our Brighton and Hove Safeguarding Adults Board website, and thank you for listening.